All right, this is grade 3, module 2, lesson 9. Now we're talking about liters and milliliters, which is volume. We're talking about water generally we're going to be thinking about. And the idea with this is to start getting a frame of reference. Now, this is the messiest one of them all for teachers. What teacher wants to encourage water in the classroom if they don't have to? But let's see if we can, reason through this. And so we're going to start with some frame of reference. Like, let's get some sort of frame of reference going. So I've got my Coke can. Now, students know what a soda can looks like. All right. Now, the idea is, well, what does that mean in terms of milliliters or liters? Well, if you zoom in on a can, you will see that a Coke can is 355 milliliters. In fact, if you have 2 of them, you still don't have quite a liter, because 1,000 milliliters is equal to 1 liter. And that's the idea of what we want students to begin knowing, and to develop that schema, that frame of reference. Let's just use common everyday things that they have around them. So that's a can of Coke. And then, a lot of sports events, you'll see bottles of water all over the place. Well, these bottles of water, I don't know if we zoom in. I don't know. You can barely see it. Kind of see the suggestion of it, that one of those classic water bottles that you see at a lot of sporting events, that's 500 milliliters. So that means 2 water bottles is going to equal 1,000 milliliters, which is a liter. So another way to do that, we could think of this as a nice, beautiful little math problem here. These 4 water bottles are equal to 2 liters, because 500 plus 500 plus 500 plus 500, and each of these are milliliters. 500 plus 500 is 1,000. 500 plus 500 is 1,000, so that's 1,000 milliliters, and another 1,000 milliliters. And if we were to add those together, we get 2,000 milliliters, which is the same thing as a 2-liter bottle. So if we wanted to, we could either buy these 4 bottles or just buy a single 2-liter bottle. The big thing for students to become familiar with measurement is to just go out and do a ton of it. And especially when we're dealing with liters and milliliters, that becomes a little problematic for teachers. Do the best you can, make your room a mess, and then buy a bouquet of flowers for your custodian. Something, because we want our students, maybe you could do it outside. We want our students measuring stuff, getting a little bit on the messy side, and developing their frame of reference. Now for homework, this problem happens to be from their homework. The idea is to raid their refrigerator. Go to their house, go look at their various containers, and read the label, much like I showed you on the cans of Coke and the water bottles, and just identify a bunch of stuff that has a capacity of about 1 liter. And if that means students need to combine a variety of things, like, they're going to add a variety of cans that then equal 1 liter, that's fine too. There's nothing scientific about this. The answers in this place all depends on their experience at home. And then, much like a previous lesson, we're going to discover that when working with measurements, it feels a lot like arithmetic. And here's just one example. Miss Goldstein pours 3 juice boxes into a bowl to make punch. Each juice box holds 236 milliliters. How much juice does Miss Goldstein pour into the bowl? So the idea would be, I'm going to draw a tape diagram, and it says she poured in 3 of them, and each one has 236 milliliters, 236 milliliters, and 236 milliliters. And then the idea is, what is the entire amount? So in this case, we can either add 236 plus 236 plus 236, and that's what I'm going to do. But invariably, some students might know how to multiply, in which case, more power to them. I'm going to show you, just for the heck of it, a different way of adding these three numbers in case it's a little laborious for our 6th graders. Let's do from left to right instead of right to left, just because. This means 200 plus 200 plus 200, which is 600. And then we can add 30 plus 30 plus 30, which is 90. And then lastly, we can do 6 plus 6 plus 6, which is 18. And then we can add those three numbers together, and we will get 708. And that would be 708 milliliters for this problem. So how much did she use? 708 milliliters. And again, I'm just being cutesy here. This is a different way of adding, and just to be fun. And that is Grade 3, Module 2, Lesson 9, where we are talking about things like milliliters and liters.